Hey, it's Mark Lynn here with your video thought for the day. All right, well, this is Gideon week, part 2. If you missed part 1, go back and look yesterday. But bottom line is, the Israelites in this age between Moses and King David. So Moses has already gotten them out of Egypt. They've conquered the promised land with Joshua, but they don't yet have a king. So they're living tribally in a sense. There are judges who help administer some sense of nationalism under God's care, but the people are responsible in essence for themselves and their families. And they quit listening and obeying God. And so as a result, God allowed the Midianites for 7 years to come in and consistently ravage the crops, take what they wanted, abuse the people, take all of the livestock. I mean, it basically, the Midianites were using the Israelites as their fodder for life. And so the message yesterday was that the Israelites cried out to God for help. That's the right thing to do. Now God sends a prophet to them, and the prophet tells them that, look, your problem here is you weren't listening and obeying God. And the word that's translated obey there is actually from the Hebrew verb shema, which means to listen. So they weren't listening to God. There is the Shema, hear, O Israel, the Lord your God, the Lord is one. That's something that every Jew was taught and was supposed to teach their offspring, and they quit doing it. They quit listening. Whoops, there's a little announcement in here. Sorry about that. They quit listening to God. And so God says, look, I'm the same God who took you out of Egypt. Don't think for a moment that I've changed. I haven't changed. I gave you their land. I've told you what to do. You just seem to be ignoring me. And I think this is a very important thing, that when life seems to be in a chaotic mess, we need to not only cry out to God, but we need to be listening for Him. We need to try and figure out what God has to say to us. And God in His compassion didn't only send that prophet. God Himself, in a sense, comes and visits. An angel of the Lord, it says, comes to visit Gideon. Now all of a sudden, you got this fella, and he comes into the story. Now Gideon, his name means someone who cuts stuff off, like a hewer of wood, but it can mean ultimately as well a destroyer. But he's just this so-so guy from a so-so family who's out in a wine press threshing his wheat. Now, a wine press is real small and narrow because you've got to press all these grapes and let the juice run out. And so he's doing this, which is an indication, one, he doesn't have much wheat. And two, he's kind of trying to do it in a non-conspicuous way, not on a threshing floor where the Midianites might see what's going on. And so God comes to him, and God says to him, the Lord, Yahweh, is with you, O man of valor. Now Gideon, by all appearances, was not a man of valor. And he doesn't seem to be that much of a man of faith in the sense that he says, oh yeah, if God's with me, then why are the Midianites doing all of this? If God is here, why is there chaos? And so the God who said, you're not listening to me, Gideon, in a sense, is replying and says, well, that's because you don't seem to be anywhere. It's kind of the chicken and the egg story. But this is a real emphasis point within the passage, that the start is with us. Our responsibility is to not only cry out to God, but to listen to Him. And then we begin to see how God perceives the situation differently than we do. And that's where we'll go pick up tomorrow. But this right now is your video thought for today. Listen to God. See you tomorrow.